good.
Hello and welcome to JRock's Babylon. I'm your host, Jason JRock Houston, and our guest for today is singer Travis Neal from the band Fraxtures. I previously interviewed Travis for Chaotic Riffs TV when I was with them. Of course, we've launched a new channel, and this is the first time you're being interviewed for JRock's Babylon. So welcome to the show, Travis.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm stoked to be here.
Yeah, now let me ask you, your publicist reached out to me because you guys just released a new single. There's a video to go along with the song for, I believe it's a Depeche Mode cover called, the title slip.
It's no good.
It's no good,
Yeah.
actually, which is kind of funny because it really is good now. Being that you guys are a metal band, I was kind of curious, were you always kind of a Depeche Mode fan yourself? Whose idea was it to cover this song?
Yeah, I definitely was. I grew up, with Depeche Mode. I love any kind of like, synthwave pop, all that
Sure.
stuff. I take a lot of influence from that. And growing up, when my older sister, she would be listening to stuff like, Bon Jovi and Wasp and Iron Maiden, but then listening to like Pet Shop Boys and Depeche Mode. And I've always had like a space in my heart for Depeche Mode. So um, I had I had kind of tossed the idea to the guys. So it came from me. I tossed the ideas to the guys, and I had the demo or a version of the song, so to speak. And I was like, hey, I have this song. I think it's a great cover, man. We should start playing it out. So like a year ago, we started playing it out, and the response was good, and we're like, well, why don't we just put it on our record? Since we're in the middle of doing it, let's re-record everything and make it our own. Because my version was a little more cut and dry. You know what I mean? Like I said, this demo. So
Yeah. And you know what I love about that is I can totally relate because not necessarily that I'm a Depeche Mode fan, but like you, I've got various different influences. I mean, I listen primarily to hard rock and metal, but you know what? I also, believe it or not, just because kind of like what you're saying, to me, it's more about if the song is good versus it has to be metal all the time. I mean,
mm,
for example, I listen to everything also from like Tom Petty, the Eagles, Whitesnake, Rolling Stones. There's a little bit of variety there. I liked even some of like 80s stuff, like you're saying, like Bon Jovi, which is a little more
hmm
um, pop or commercial kind of
yeah,
hard rock. But they were catchy songs. There's no denying that. And I think, like I'm saying, especially you look at artists like Eagles and Tom Petty. I mean, those songs are being played on the radio almost 40, 50 years later for a reason.
yeah, yeah. They're timeless.
Yeah. Yeah, and how far along are you guys in the recording of your album?
We are currently, I would say, we're just doing some cleanup work on some of the songs because it's been a process over the last couple of years. We had roadblocks and everything that kind of got in our way, and um, we're about, I would say, 98.9% done with the songwriting. We just got like I said, a couple loose ends. Just with a couple more songs. We have half the record mixed. We're currently in the mixing stages of the majority of it with a guy named Joel Wanasek.
Okay.
He's mixed Scott Stapp, Ice Nine Kills. His list goes on and on. He's part of Ultimate Recording Machine, Riff Hard. He's
And how did you guys
Joey's.
hook up with somebody like that? Was it a matter of reaching out to him or
I had built a relationship with Joel with the band I was in formerly before Fractures called the Bloodline, and he produced and mixed our record, and I spent a lot of time in the studio with him, and plus we built our relationship and our friendship, and then later on we kind of did a studio project called Dark Shift. It was a little more like early 2000s, kind of like Swedish thrash, and that kind of Gothenburg sound. So we built a relationship over the years, and it just made sense. I'm like, hey man, I know this guy, and we'll see if he can work with us. I mean, he's
and
amazing.
people would be amazed at what a huge difference a producer can make. I mean, even
Hmm.
myself as a music fan, I went back and this is going back like to the late 1960s, but like I listened to the first two Alice Cooper albums, they
Hmm.
almost sound kind of like psychedelic music, not
Yeah.
nothing like the Alice we know. Until Bob Ezrin came in on the third album, that's where he that producer Bob Ezrin really helped Alice find his sound, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
A good producer. I kicked back a lot the first time that I ever worked with a production team in the studio, and I was like, you know, had a lot of pride in what I did. So I was like, I'm not going to give my, my hard work and to somebody else or let somebody else write my music for me. Like I clawed my way here. I'm going to do it. And obviously, when you're, signed to a label and you have a regiment and you have a schedule, you really don't get to pick and choose. It's like, hey, this is who we're working with on this record. Okay. And then I worked with another producer later on named called his name's Sahaj. He has a band called Raw, and he's mixed. I mean, nothing more star set like across the board. And I finally really let go of like anything I was holding back
sure.
on and he brought the best stuff out of me that I've ever done in my life. And it was the fact that he pushed me so far out of my comfort zone. Even listening back, I was like, I don't know, dude, that is not me. And he's like, trust me, just trust me. And then he gives it back to me like when he's got it all layered in and everything and like what he wants. And I'm just like, holy crap, like I cannot believe that came out of me.
Yeah. I mean,
You really push, and plus they give you all kinds of new tools in your tool belt as a songwriter as well.
sure. And there's two kind of thought process there. I mean, there's the one thought process which is kind of like what you're saying. Yeah, this is my music. I created. I wrote. I'm not going to have anybody come in and destroy what I created. Or and then there's the other thought process of like is I don't know. Maybe having an external ear, somebody that's not in the band, kind of
Hmm.
listen to this stuff. Maybe that is somewhat helpful. As long as they don't tear it apart too much, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's funny because come back full circle, the demo that I put together for this song, it was um the instrumentation, the revisioning of the song
Uh,
itself, It's No Good, was done by Sahaj. And
okay.
me and Sahaj wrote it together. We developed it together, and it was something that I was going to release, and it never really happened. So it was kind of cool to kind of work with him again, and have Joel a part of it mixing, have Sahaj a part of it with the co-songwriting and the producing. It's like these guys are incredible producers and engineers in my opinion, and I've written the best stuff that I've ever written in my life with these guys. And so to get them both together instead of working with one on one and one like together, it's mind blowing.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah, and Travis, also, another thing about covering other people's music is, there's two thoughts. The obvious one is, okay, hey, if we release, a cover by another kind of well-known band, there's a good chance a lot of people are gonna already know they've heard the original song, so
Hmm.
kind of an instant hit right there. Or, there's also a thought process is we're going to go and we're going to cover the song, but we're kind of going to make it our own. What was your intent with this cover? Did you want to stay as true to the original version of a song as possible?
Yeah, I didn't want to veer too far away from the core and the integrity of what that song means to the listeners. So yeah, we just basically took it and injected it with a little bit of steroid, gave it a little bit of a modern edge, and kind of did it the way we would have done the song, say we wrote it,
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
without stepping
yeah,
too far away. It's still, it's not so far off the beaten path where people are like, oh, that part's a little weird. Like they can sing along with it. They still know the words. They still know the cues. The cues
yeah.
still come in at the same time, and so on and so
Like,
forth.
I interviewed Frankie Banelli once, late great Quiet Riot drummer, and he was telling me as far as Quiet Riot covering those two Slade songs, he was saying when Quiet Riot covered those songs, it was kind of at the end of Slade's career, and he's saying so at the time Quiet Riot got the fame, and Slade made a little bit of money off of the Quiet Riot versions. He said, but and
Yeah.
rightfully so. He's like. So it's kind of an even trade. They got the money as they should have, but we got a little bit of a fame.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. I mean, and there's a lot of great songs that are out there and a lot of great artists that these next generation of fans they probably have never heard of,
Yeah,
or and it's like it's new to them. So in my opinion, it gives a fresh look for people that do know the song, but it also gives this younger generation of fans like, who's that band? And then they'll go back and listen to them and be like, oh, I love this, or
yeah.
I don't like it, whatever. It gets them to open up to former generations to kind of pave the way to the music that they
You're
listen
so
to now.
right because a great version of that. I recently did the show on the Foghat album, "Fool for a City," celebrating 50th anniversary. Anyways, one of the songs on there that I always loved, it's called "Tell Plain Blues," and I didn't know it was a cover. Apparently, it was originally done by blues legend Robert Johnson. So I went like you said, and I kind of sought out the original version on YouTube. Didn't dig it too much, but you gotta dig it because it's the original. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's where it came from. It's what
yeah,
planted the seed. But what's cool about it is Foghat. They kind of rocked it up a little, and they made it their own. But what's cool about it is if I wouldn't been doing the research for that show, I would not have realized that was a cover song, a Robert Johnson song. I would not have gone and listened to the original version. So it's cool when you get to discover stuff like that.
yeah. Just the other day, there's a local bar just right down the street. Sometimes I'll go there and have beer or whatever, and this kid was just playing some like old country, like some
Yeah.
George Jones and shit like that. And Tennessee Whiskey came on, and forgive my ignorance, but I thought that was Chris Stapleton's song this whole time
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
made it massive. And then I'm
Yeah.
hearing this old version. I'm like, holy crap, it's a cover song?
Yeah.
I had no idea. So yeah, it's a trip.
Yeah, it was just like years ago, when they had have you heard the classic TV show from the 1970s, Happy Days?
Mhm.
When that TV show launched, they put on this old Bill Haley and the Comets song "Rock Around the Clock," and it had been a big hit back in the 50s. And when they started playing that as their theme song, like it recharted. You could believe that, like 20 years later.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy what like a good reimagining of a song will do for the original song, you
Yeah,
know?
in fact, Tesla, one of their most famous songs is their cover of that song "Signs." And,
Yeah.
and again,
Signs, signs
yeah,
everywhere.
I was
Yeah.
interviewing the guitar player Tommy Skio who played on that, and he was telling me, he said that the fun fact is Tesla actually had a bigger hit than the original band did.
Yeah, definitely. That I know that song because of them. I can't remember the original. I know I've heard
The,
it
the
one
original
time.
band was apparently called like some like the electrical band, something, but like that, and but people started when Tesla came out with that. It became such a massive hit. People started going to check out the original, just like Motley Crue when they did "Smoking in the Boys' Room."
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
an
I
old
remember that.
Brownsville station kind of blues
Mhm.
band that originally did that, and again they everybody started checking that out because of Motley Crue.
Yeah, yeah. It's a trip, man. Circle back around. Like we're stoked to do it. It's for me. It was a bucket list item. I
Sure,
love Depeche Mode. It would be like if I did my own version of a Police song. Like I love the Police
yeah,
or Pink Floyd or something. It was a bucket list item for me. I had a couple other choices on the song, but that song just seemed to
and
be
what's
like the
cool.
perfect
What's
fit.
cool about it to me is when a band like Fractures releases a Depeche Mode song, is again, it's not maybe to your fans, maybe to you as it's the obvious choice, if you know what I mean. But maybe fans are like, "Oh, what are they doing covering Depeche Mode?" But again, I think it was a cool song because it's still a heavy song, if you know what I mean, for a band
Hmm.
like you guys to cover. And again, I think it's cool because you're shedding your skin, you're showing kind of, hey, this is just one of my many influences. That's always cool to
Yeah,
do.
absolutely. Right on, man. Well, yeah, I hope people enjoy it as much as we enjoyed putting it on, getting it done and kind of making it our own.
And so I was curious, like I'm sure, like when you were first starting out as a musician, like a lot of people, you know, starting out playing in the clubs, covering other people's music, because that's how you come up with when you're coming up as a musician, you play other people. What was at the point? How old were you when you started writing your own music?
Well, I started out playing when I was like 15. I got a bass. My mom bought me a bass for my 15th birthday, and then I got together with some friends or whatever. And it was literally all cover songs. We're looking at Guitar World, we're learning the tabs, and we're playing these songs, or like, oh, what are you playing there? Let me figure it out. I think within the first year, I was learning to write on my own. Obviously, I didn't have any kind of recording equipment like I have now. There wasn't no digital recording computers or,
Yeah, yeah.
everything was tape and but I was still pushing like my high school band, when we were kids and we were writing our own music probably like a year into playing with each other. Obviously sprinkled with covers,
And
but
Travis, did you start out simply as a bass player, or have you always been a singer?
well, I mean, when I was young, I remember doing like a solo in my sixth grade musical. I can't for the life of me remember what it was like, or nor was
Mhm.
it like something that I thought I was ever going to do.
Yeah.
Um, we started out, I played bass only, and then we had a singer, one of my friends, and then he quit the band and we didn't have a singer. So I was like, well, I'll start playing bass. I'll play bass and sing. And then we got a bass player, and then I just started singing. So probably about the majority of the time. A
And,
brief stint playing bass, like about a year, and then it's been vocals ever since.
and you know what's funny is a lot of times, a lot of my favorite bands, anyway, a lot of times the bass player is a secret weapon, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You look at guys like Steve Harris, Geddy Lee, Nikki Sixx,
Hmm.
Gene Simmons, Clifford, and Geezer Butler for many Sabbath fans kind of amazed to learn, on
Dude,
all those great
rips.
Ozzy albums, he wrote the lyrics.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy when you dive into like actual songwriting and realize like how many people that you wouldn't think actually write. And this song was written by this person, and you're like, wait a second, what? I thought
You gotta
this
read,
guy
yeah,
was
you gotta
the
read the
guy.
credits. I mean,
Yeah.
it's funny. I was guilty of this myself for years, like growing up a Motley Crue fan, thinking, well, Vince Neil must write all those songs. He's a singer, right? And
Yep.
then actually
Nope.
Nikki, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, Nikki Six is like the main songwriter.
principal, yeah, he's the guy, influences everything in that band. Um, and so, what was that transition like? You go from being a bass player. I hear like people talk about who play the bass or the guitar that even singers that play lead, they'll be like, that guitar is kind of my safety net. I get to do this and sing, but did you miss having something to play?
Um, No, at the time, I think like the the singers that I was influencing by, and like at the time when you're in high school, like you're not influenced by the people that you listen to, like you want to be those people,
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember when I was like 16, I wanted to be like Chino from Deftones or Jonathan Davis from Korn. I loved Jonathan Davis when I
Wow.
was a
Yeah.
kid, and so no, I really enjoyed it. I mean, I've kept my skill level up when it comes to playing string instruments and playing drums and keyboard programming and everything and songwriting. I just don't really I just never really did it in any of the bands I was in. I was
You're
always just
you're
the
the front
singer.
man, and so
Yeah.
that's kind of now. So did it when you started, singing and being the front man? Did it at all take a while to adjust to, hey, I'm the front man, all eyes are on me, I got to communicate with the audience, or were you just a natural at it?
Uh I don't think I was a natural at it, especially when it comes to like singing,
Uh,
because when I first started singing, I couldn't hold a note to save my life. I yell and yell into a microphone a lot. But no, when you're young, you're 15, 16 years old, and you get a little taste of that crowd and that blood. It was like I didn't. That's all I wanted to do. It wasn't
yeah,
natural, but I just went nuts. It
it's
just
kind
was.
of it's kind of funny to hear you say that, Travis, because again, I guess you're a natural as far as you probably vocally practice what you have to. You've been doing it for as long as you've been doing it. So to people listening to the music, I was like, hey, this guy, he's been doing this for years. So um, you know, so that's pretty cool because I think you're great at what you do. If you say um, you don't come at it naturally, but I guess like anything in life, you work hard, it pays off.
Yeah, yeah, man. You get, nothing worth having was given to us for free, and nothing that we look at that's amazing was built overnight. It takes time. You gotta, with anything, if you want to, you really hone in what that potential could be. You got to dive in, and you just got to give it all you got.
And so, let me ask you, are you guys signed to a label or are you independent artist?
No, no, we're currently we just signed with Cleopatra Records out of
Oh,
LA. It's a little different of a label. They mainly do like goth industrial, but they're starting to branch out with metal with some of the rap stuff.
A little
So
bit of everything because you look at
yeah,
other artists on their roster.
hmm
One time or another they've had I think Warren, LA Guns,
yeah. There's a lot of folks. Yeah,
and so that's cool. That there's always kind of they've been one of those labels for even like in the '90s when hard rock wasn't very popular. They gave that was a label that gave some of those guys that some of those bands at the time that were struggling a place to release their music.
yeah. It was definitely a surprise. It came out of left field, and we were just like, wow, Cleopatra. I
Did they
remember the
reach out to
label.
you guys? Did they hear your music or?
Yeah, yeah. They came across. Excuse me.
Uh-huh. Go ahead.
Our drummer Fred is in. He has another band called Dead Groove. He also plays in the Bullet Boys and plays with another band with a couple of guys from Megadeth called Kings of Thrash.
Is that Fred
Um,
Akey? I think I've interviewed him before.
yeah, yeah. So he had a relationship built with him, and little did all of us know that he was kind of trying to, hey, check out this. I think you guys
I
like
think
it.
I
So
interviewed him once or twice before with the female singer that he was
yeah,
working
yeah, Holly.
with. Holly,
Hmm.
that's her name. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
he,
they're great.
how
They're
did you
great.
hook up with Fred? Because he's a talented cat. To be in all those bands, you think you'd have to be.
Yeah, the guy is literally like a machine. I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he balances everything, but like his brain is otherworldly. Like how he remembers every single tiny note. And he could play with like I think at one time he was playing with like seven different bands,
Yeah,
and he would go and play these shows. In crazy story. So we had a show a while back, and it was a really good show for us. And he called us last minute because Fred makes a living playing his drums. That's his job.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so he called us and he was like, "Hey guys, I have an issue. I don't know that I'm going to be able to make the show." And he tried everything he can because he literally got called. I think it was a big punk festival that was in LA last year, and he got called by the U.S. Bombs like last minute the day before,
Wow.
and was like, "Hey, can you fill in for us?" He's literally listening to all the stuff and went and filled in a headlining set at this festival with the U.S. Bombs. It doesn't matter if it's like five chords and a message or whatever, but like the fact that he was able to retain all that and impress those guys, like
Mhm.
they played the show comfortably. They didn't have to worry about anything. Dude, the guy is amazing. I'm excited to be in a band with him
So,
and to be his friend.
so Travis, how involved is everybody in the band in the writing?
Everybody is. This is kind of like one of the first bands in a long time that everybody is involved in the writing process. I'm used to like one or two guys being the main songwriters. It's usually the singer and like a guitar player, and they're bringing everything else.
Yeah.
And
Well,
this
that's so
this.
often one of the things where there's a lot of friction within a lot of different bands that one guy writes it all. Hey, let us take part in it or
Mhm.
whatever for whatever reason. But a lot of times that's why you have friction in these different bands. One guy takes control, whatever the case
Yeah,
may be. But you guys seem to have a great chemistry, and anytime like I've gone on the internet, researched anything about your band, you guys put forth a real kind of band, a unity like
yeah.
approach to what you're
Yeah,
doing.
we are. We're all brothers, man. And I know people say that, oh, those are my brothers, but like we've been through a lot together as a band with personal issues. I mean, those guys, they had my back for a year out when I had cancer, and
Oh wow!
like we've had I mean, Fred tours. It's all over the place. Like we all just nine times out of ten when we play a show we don't even get to rehearse, we just rehearse on our own, but it's like the chemistry and just the gel, like when we see each other it doesn't matter, it's like we just played the night before with each other even though we hadn't played in like 2 months.
Well, so if you
So
don't mind me asking, Travis, how are you doing now health wise?
I am good. I just had my 2 years after diagnosis, or after finishing chemo, excuse me. So 2 years last week. I went and see my oncologist the week before I had all my scans, and they said it's been great. They said that I'm at a 96% cure rate, that like everything looks amazing, like my body is has
Congratulations on that.
kicked it.
And not to harp on it, but I was just kind of curious. Was when you were originally diagnosed, were you ever told like, hey, we don't think you're going to be able to perform again, or was it?
I didn't know. I had no idea what my life was going to be like. I didn't know. All I knew is I got a stage 3 diagnosis. So in my brain, I'm like, holy crap, like I'm going to die. Yeah, I don't got much time left. So
So this is a real kind of
yeah.
comeback. I mean, I'd imagine the first time after you're diagnosed with something like that, first time you hit the stage, it's like, man, I'm still here.
Yeah, these guys they played one show without me, and had a couple guest singers come in. They asked me, got my blessing with it. But yeah, when we started writing the lyrics and recording the lyrics on this record, it was like my last 2 months of chemo. So I would do my 1 week, my infusion week, where I would have, a 2.5 hour infusion through my port, and then I would have to carry around this little bag
Oh wow.
pump thing that like pumped it into my body for another 2 days, and then I'd be miserable Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'd start coming out, and then I'd have off weeks the next week, and I wouldn't have to do anything, and I'd be going back and forth to the bass player's house, to Vinny's house, and we would be tracking. So yeah, it and before that, it was it took I don't know what it was. I couldn't tap in like a year and a half. Like every time I sat down, the only reference I can think about, there's like this Ice-T lyric from like OG Original Gangster back in the day, and he talks about like how he tries to write a happy rhyme, but every time he tries to write a happy rhyme, the pen explodes and destroys the paper. And it was like with me, every time I sat down to write, I'd listen to the song, and it was just like my brain would explode and I couldn't do anything. Like I couldn't figure out what I was going to do, and I didn't even know. I mean, there was times where I talked to those guys and I was like, look, I don't feel that I'm pulling my weight and bringing to the table my percentage of what I should be bringing, my 20% to this band. And
Look what you're dealing with. I mean,
yeah, well, this was before that. This was before I even knew I got sick or anything. And there was a long conversation with myself about like whether or not I was going to do it. And then I don't know what happened.
looking back in retrospect, probably the funny thing about it is at the time, you're probably not kind of feeling 100% yourself, and you just kind of can't figure out why. Like, what is going on? I can't
Yeah.
pinpoint what is going on with me. And then,
Yeah, it was weird. It was
yeah,
definitely scary and weird.
oh wow. Well,
But
I'm happy to know you're doing good. So that's great.
yeah,
We're
but
glad to.
after that, like the floodgates opened, dude, and I have no idea where this stuff came out or where I dug it out of like the deepest pits in myself, but
Uh,
I dug up a lot of, excuse my language, I dug up a lot of shit and
that's
a
all right,
lot
man.
of demons, a lot of things that I had no idea were still inside me from my childhood, from growing up, from, trauma, growing up and I mean, we all kind of came from our parents. They did the best they could with what they had, but we some of us got our asses beat a lot harder, I guess. But
Yeah,
you know, just a lot of I
a lot
mean,
of
you go
living,
through.
as they say. And
Yeah,
the thing of it is, though, um, you know, you never hope somebody has to, go through stuff like that. But
yeah,
honestly, some of the best songwriters are guys that write about, pages out of my life, something that really happened to you, because they're really authentic, so you really know what you're talking about, as opposed to a guy just making up lyrics,
yeah. I
nothing about.
mean, if you look at across the board as a music lover, and everybody that's listening to this right now as a music lover, what what songs have the most platinum hits over all time of music? Songs about heartbreak, songs
Sure,
about
sure.
emotional distress, or going through a divorce, any kind of heartbreak. And it's like emotion, that's something that everybody can relate to, whether
Yeah,
it's just getting up and struggling every day and just trying to figure out how you keep your roof over your head, or
sure,
getting
sure.
up and trying to hold your marriage together and keep your kids good and keep your kids on the straight and narrow, or just somebody that's just like doesn't know what the next move is. They just
Yeah.
got dealt a shitty hand of cards, and now it's like, okay, well, what's next?
Yeah, and
So
you're living the dream, in a way, so to speak, because I'm sure throughout your life you've had people tell you, "Hey, give up this crazy, dream of being in a band and stuff. Get a real job." But you stuck with it, and look where you are now. And it's taken you all these steps to get here,
yeah,
but you're making a record. People are going to be able to buy your music at the end of the day. You're making your living doing what you enjoy, and maybe not the easiest way to make a living, but you're doing it.
yeah. I mean, I missed. I have a son. He's 24. He's a musician as well. He does hip hop and rap. His artist name is Kid Heartbreak. And
I like it,
you
like what
know,
you're talking about.
growing up, watching him grow up, like I missed a lot of his
Yeah,
life. I mean, I missed a lot of birthdays. I missed a lot of holidays. I missed a lot of my surroundings growing up. But the other side of the coin to that is I I got to go all over the world and play, and somebody else paid for it, and I got to
yeah,
see things that I never ever thought I would see. So that's just you chase the dragon.
yeah,
It's chasing the
yeah.
dragon, and a friend of mine, he coined kind of a phrase. He put it all in perspective to me, and I say it till the day I die. Being a professional musician is like being a professional gambler.
Yeah, yeah,
Sometimes you just sometimes you throw it all on red, and your wildest
yeah.
dreams come true, and sometimes you drop it all on red, and everything, your life, your family, your job, your car, your house, it's gone. Like
Travis,
everything's gone.
I'm just hearing this story for the first time today. And what's funny about it is, you gone through that with your son, and yet it must be something in the DNA because he had a little bit of influence. He's doing his musical thing now.
Yeah, yeah, he understands. We've sat down, and I'm like, there's gonna come a day where you're gonna probably be like, why the hell did you do this, and why weren't you here, and why weren't you this, and why weren't you that? And when that day comes, I'll have that talk with you. But he understands as a musician now. I mean, he's doing his own thing. He kicked off his first tour yesterday, last night. He's got songs that are up over 1 million streams on streaming
Wow, wow, you
services.
must be proud, Papa.
Oh man, you know what? It's like I couldn't be more proud of the kid. It's like it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have
Yeah.
mattered if he did music,
Uh,
or if he was a doctor, or if he was a football player, or just worked at the oil changers, man. It's like
I'm
just to
sure.
watch him
Yeah.
grow into the man that he's become, and grab hold of his own destiny and his
That's
own
how any
path in
father would
life.
feel. But let me just say, it'd be funny if one day you're listening to one of his songs and it's kind of something about you and him, and it's like, hey, he put in a song, great.
Could be good, it could be bad. It could be,
Well,
it could
it's
be
all
could be
it's
talking
all
about the trauma or
interpretation, my
whatever.
friend. Because again, as a songwriter yourself, I'm sure you've had people come up to you and tell you what they've interpreted your songs to mean. Maybe based on their own life experience, and you're kind of thinking, well, I don't want to ruin it for you, but that's not what I wrote the song about. But hey,
Oh my gosh.
if you've got that out of it, great. Yeah,
I've had quite a few like that, and but at the end of the day, I mean,
you touch
that's
somebody with your song.
yeah, that's something I've that's been my ultimate goal as a musician. I Yes, making it big in the music industry and having it support you, and whatever, that's the ultimate dream, whatever. My dream was always, I just want to connect with other people, and make them feel that they're not alone. Like the people I grew up
Yeah,
loving made me feel like I wasn't alone, made me feel like they understood what my problem was, and the struggle that I was going through. Because that's huge at the end of the day. And I've had
yeah,
I've had people come up to me and tell me, dude, that song got me through the hardest part of my
wow,
life, and this and that. And it's like, I know what the song's about, and it may
yeah,
not be about a struggle. It may be a story based song,
yeah,
but it's
yeah.
like I let them have it. I let them
Hey,
have it. I'm
hey,
not I'm not I'm
yeah,
not raining on that parade, because that little connection, that itty bitty connection, is is just tremendous. It's
Yeah,
huge.
but you're making that connection. Otherwise, we'd be talking today, Travis.
Yeah,
Um, I'm going to have to welcome you back. You're welcome back here anytime. Let me just say that right off the bat. And when
I
the album
appreciate it.
drop,
I'm happy to be back interviewing with you. I enjoyed our last one.
oh yeah, it was
So
great. And just to let you know, it's probably going up about an hour or so.
okay.
I will send you the link once it goes up, and feel free to share it. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks for your time and thank you so much for working my schedule. I'm sorry that the
You
other
know what?
day got jumbled.
Don't even worry about it. Things happen. That's why I told Jody. I don't want him to feel rushed, so we'll do it another day. Because I know how that is. Things
Okay.
come up. Take care, my
All right,
friend.
brother.
Bye
Yeah,
bye.
much love and have a great night and a great weekend. It was great talking with
You
you,
too,
man.
brother. Bye bye.
All right. Bye.